Okay, so looks like I'm falling behind a little bit on my uploads, but uh, you can just bear with me for a moment. Think I just think I just got the right idea here, but yeah, just trying to get on the right track here. I'm falling a bit behind on my uploads here. Still haven't talked about the Chicago Street Course, and we still got the truck race at Pocono later today. Um, But yeah, let's talk about this Chicago weekend, a weekend race that happened last week. And believe me when I say this, I was definitely more hyped than I was supposed to be. Uh, because I spent all week leading up to that race, or that weekend as a whole, just trying to recover from whatever the fuck happened at Nashville. But the moment I woke up on Saturday and saw the cars on the track, I immediately got a rush. Like I felt chills, literally, like Icy Vert would say. And it literally sunk in my mind that we are actually racing in the streets of Chicago. And yes, I know we did this last year, but the rain kind of got in the way of that. I said kinda because we still got some racing, but this year though, there was no rain, which means that we would finally be able to see what this track had to offer at what this track had to offer at its full potential, what this street course had to, how the cars will race on this actual dry street course. Um, so for the Xfinity race, practice and qualifying was chaotic. There were a lot of incidents. The most notable of which was Allgaier hitting the tire barriers in turn 4 and then getting clobbered by the 45 car of Alan Day. For you guys who don't know who Alan Day is, he is an Israeli driver from the NASCAR Euro Series. This incident happened, the 45 car with Allgaier, 20 seconds after he got stopped. Like Allgaier was stopped on the track, the 45 car like literally was clobbered. Just literally clobbered him. Caution had been out for a while too. But it's important to mention though, turn 4, it's almost a 90-degree turn. In other words, a blind spot. So the blame for this incident lies more on the spotter than on the driver himself. But regardless, Allgaier will go to a backup, and unfortunately, Alan Day will have to withdraw from the race as Alpha Prime, being a smaller team, did not bring a backup to the race. He was driving their third car, part-time car. Also, Ken Komura. We also had Ken Komura, another Euro Series driver, attempting to make his Xfinity debut, running the 53 car for Joey Gase. He also had issues, just spun out on 3 separate occasions, and that was in practice alone. Daniel Suarez, also running the 36 car for DGM Racing, the part-time 36 car. He also spun out during practice. And then Sage Karam, running the 26 car for Sam Hunt Racing. He wrecked in turn 6 and he will have to go to a backup. And then in qualifying, the issues continued. And again, Kenko Miura spun out for a 4th time this weekend, this time on his qualifying lap. As a result, he failed to qualify for the race. And it was a pretty stacked field too. Several Cup drivers making the jump down to get some extra seat time, getting prepared for the Cup race on Sunday, getting a feel for the track. The JD Motorsports duo as well, Ty Dillon running the 4 and Thomas Annunziata running the 6. They both went off track and hit the wall in their respective qualifying laps. It was a slight contact, but it was enough to affect their qualifying laps to the point that they would not make the race either. So for the first time since 2007, JD Motorsports has failed to qualify for an Xfinity race. SVG, Shane Bangus-Bergen, the star of the show last year, he picked up right where he left off, winning the pole, with Kyle Larson 2nd, Connor Mosak 3rd, and Ty Gibbs 4th. They were basically the 4 best cars all weekend long so far. Then Sam Mayer, he qualified 6th. And then John Hunter Nemechek 6th and Parker Kligerman 7th. Both of those guys, the 20 and the 48, they will start at the rear due to an engine change. Jesse Love qualified 8th, Chandler Smith qualified 9th, and then Cole Custer 10th. Running down through the field, AJ Allmendinger qualified 11th, Parker Retzlaff 12th, And Joe Logano, he qualified 15th. And this is another big story in the garage. Hailie Deegan is no longer with AM Racing. Due to her poor finishes throughout the first half of the season, that 15 car had fallen outside the top 33 in owner points, and with how stacked the field was, there was a very high chance she would fail to qualify, especially since she's not exactly a road course racer. She's far from that. So the team initially made the decision to sit her out for this race and put the more experienced Logano in. At first, it looked like a one-time thing, but considering the team came out and stated that they're still evaluating if they want Hailie back for the race at Pocono, and also considering that Hailie Deegan removed her, any references she had to AM Racing from her Twitter bio, it kind of looked like she may be done racing with them for the year. But it was eventually confirmed that Hailie Deegan, she is done for the year, or at least done with AM Racing. Who knows where she is, where her career, what her career is gonna look like, or where she's gonna land next. But definitely been a really rough 4 years in NASCAR for Hailie Deegan. But yeah, Alex Labbe, he qualified 16th in the SS Greenlight 07. Also Dan Pardus, or Preston Pardus, driving the 50 car that is owned by his father, Dan Pardus. He qualified 17th. Austin Green, once again, who's become kind of a road course ringer, running the Jordan Anderson 32 car, back in that third Jordan Anderson racing car. Josh Bilicki, he qualified 24th, running the 92 car for the DTM racing team. Then Josh Williams qualified 30th. Daniel Suarez qualified 31st. Brandon Jones 32nd. Andre Castro, back in the 14 car for SS Greenlight, he qualified 33rd. Then Justin Allgaier, he did not post a qualifying lap due to the going to the backup car. Sheldon Creed, he also did not qualify, or rather did not post a qualifying lap due to an engine change that they made after practice. He will start 37th. And also Sage Cameron 38. Like Allgaier, he did not post a qualifying lap as the team was busy preparing the backup car. So 43 cars showed up. Like I said, it was a pretty stacked field, both in driver names and also in quantity of how many drivers were running there. So 5 drivers failed to qualify. I already mentioned that Ty Dillon, Annunziata, Ken Komura, and Alan Day failed to qualify. The 5th driver that failed to make the show was Brad Perez, who was running the other Joy Gates racing car, the 35. So JD Motorsports, the 2 Joy Gates cars, and one of the Alpha Prime cars, the 3rd Alpha Prime car. All 5 of those cars are going to be sent home. So the race began, and from the outset, we saw a ton of action. SVG had a great start, but Larson catched up immediately and took the lead in turn 4, only for the 97 to come back and take it right back from him in turn 6, and leaving Larson to fight Ty Gibbs for second. And all of this happened on lap 1. It was just crazy. And it just didn't stop there. It actually picked up from there, as Larson came back on lap 3 to take the lead, with SVG and Ty Gibbs close behind him on what was a 3 to 4 car breakaway to start the race, because Connor Mosak was there too. But those first few laps were absolutely insane. It seemed like Larson and SVG, they would trade the lead every 2 to 3 laps for the rest of the race. But yeah, the action was halted, unfortunately, for a caution that came out for debris on Columbus Drive of the 26 car of Sage Karam. And to be fair, it was starting to get chaotic, as Di Benedetto, he had spun off of turn 3 at that point, and Chandler Smith, he had also dropped the cylinder, and he had to drop out of the race with an engine issue. Already the 3rd engine issue for Joe Gibbs Racing this weekend, because if you remember, Sheldon Creed, he had an engine issue after practice. John Hunter Nemechek, he had to change the engine for qualifying, and now Chandler Smith. So 3 JGR cars with engine issues already. And all of this stuff happened almost simultaneously. So the caution was bound to come out eventually for one reason or another. But this restart, it gave us the chance to reset, and the moment the green flag dropped, round 2 between Larson and SVG was underway. And this time it was Larson who got the upper hand, as despite him going wide in turn 1 on his initial attempt to pass 97 for the lead, he stayed side by side with him up until turn 6 when he took the lead for good. The incidents also ramped up with the stage close to ending. Josh Bilicki got spun out by Jeremy Clements. The 51 with heavy damage had to pit, and I think he eventually dropped out of the race. I'll get back to that later. Allgaier also got spun out by Ryan Sieg while trying to come down pit road. Important to note that Allgaier was on a different strategy compared to the other guys. And then on the next lap, Riley Herbst and Sheldon Creed, they got into each other. The 98 was not clear, and he ran the 18 wide into the wall in turn 2. Both cars were damaged. Creed did not take too kindly to that, and he just spun Riley out entering turn 3. The caution did not come out though. Stage 1 ended under green. Larson, it looked like he was on his way to the stage win, but then on the last lap, SVG made his move. He pounced in turn 5 and he took the lead and the stage win away from Larson. Just what an awesome way to win such an amazing stage. So Larson had to settle for second, with Ty Gibbs third and Connor Mosak fourth. Then Cole Custer, the next full-time Xfinity regular, he finished fifth in the stage. Then Allmendinger sixth, Jesse Love, Austin Hill, Sam Mayer, and Parker Kligerman, who started at the rear, made it all the way back to 10th in just the first, I believe it was the first 15 laps. Pretty impressive. So we go to pit road. SVG, Larson, Mosak, Allmendinger, Sammy Smith, Austin Green, Retzlaff, Allgaier, and Alex Labbe, they stay out, and everyone else pits. Riley Herbst, Dan Pardus, and Sage Karen get penalized, which is important to note. And Cole Custer, he also got penalized for passing on pit lane. And it's not like he sped on pit road. As a matter of fact, he was running 10 miles an hour under the speed limit when he passed 19. But what happened was that Ty Gibbs had gotten a bit confused over where his pit lane was located, which is why he slowed down. He thought that he had overshot his pit stall, but it turns out that his pit stall was a bit further ahead. So, but he was technically not committed to his pit box yet, and according to NASCAR rules, you cannot pass on pit lane unless the car in front of you has already committed to their pit box. It's a pretty black and white rule on paper, but on this Custer situation, it definitely felt unfair to give the 00 a penalty for something he had no control over. Like, what do you want him to do? Like, think about it. If you're Cole Custer for a moment, do you slow down because the 19 in front of you slowed down and you risk stacking up the entire pit lane? Like, that would have been way dangerous. Like, the concept of the rule, I agree with the concept of the rule. Like, passing on pit lane is a penalty, like on paper, because in order to pass on pit lane, you will be having to go over the speed limit. But in this case, it was a case of a driver just getting confused over where their pit stop was, and it ended up clogging the lane. One of the guys decided, well, if you're not gonna go, then I'm gonna go. So it honestly kind of felt unfair for Custer to, just give him a penalty for something that he had no control over. But who knows with NASCAR? Even when NASCAR enforces a rule properly, it always has to happen under some kind of, there always has to be some kind of technicality behind it that makes it kind of unfair. Who knows with NASCAR rules at this point? But we go to stage 2, anyways, and the Larson SVG battle resumes. If you remember, both of them stayed out on this on the stage caution. So just like the previous restart, Larson takes the lead in turn 1. But this time, he manages to hold the lead despite numerous attacks from SVG. Numerous attempts from trying to take the lead. SVG is able to hold him off. Larson is able to hold SVG at bay. But unfortunately, just like in stage 1, a caution halts this amazing battle. And this time it comes by the way of AJ Allmendinger, who was running third, making a rare mistake on a road course, just trying to push his car to the limits to keep up with the top 2. He got loose and he crashed hard into the barriers in turn 6. But yeah, this caution takes us to pit road, and this time the leaders pit as they were on their fuel window. Larson and SVG lead them down pit road. Mosak, Suarez, Riley Herbst, Josh Williams, Cole Custer, Austin Green, Brennan Poole, Matty D, Ryan Sieg, Kyle Sieg, Ryan Ellis, and Leland Honeyman. They follow suit. All of them pit for 4 tires except for Cole Custer, who took fuel only. So Sammy Smith, who had not pitted yet, he was on this strategy of just pitting after the end of stage 2 so that he can have fresher tires towards the end of the race. So he takes the lead on this stage. He takes the lead of the race with Austin Hill in second. So now Larson and SVG are restarting mid-pack. And despite this, they still put on a show, slicing and dicing their way up until their 10th and 11th. So instead of battling for the lead, they're now battling for stage points, and the camera crew was all over them. Well, in SVG's case at least, he was battling for stage points because Larson is not an Xfinity regular. So in SVG's case, he needed a 10th place on the stage more than Larson. But up front, obviously, not much of note happened. Austin Hill just took the lead on restart, and he sailed away to the stage 2 win. Despite suffering from serious radio communication issues, there were some parts of the track where Austin Hill, he was like unable to hear his pit crew, but it looks like they got that issue sorted out, thankfully, because otherwise NASCAR would have forced him to come down pit road and give up the lead. But yeah, he won the stage. Sammy Smith, he finished second. Jesse Love third. Justin Allgaier and Sheldon Creed round out the top 5. And then Ty Gibbs, Parker Kligerman, Sam Mayer, John Hunter Nemechek, and finally SVG, who got the better of Larson. He finished 10th and took the final stage point away from him. Also, something important to note, Cole Custer, who was running 14th, he spun off of turn 12 while running behind Joe Logano, and he fell down to 26 at the end of the stage. So yeah, we go to pit road after this, and finally, this is where Sammy Smith pits. Like I said, he got not pitted at all in the first 2 stages. He was clearly chasing stage points, and it pretty much worked out for him. But yeah, Justin Allgaier, Red Slav, Jeb Burden, they also joined him, along with Josh Bilicki, Andre Castro, Matty Benedetto, and Cole Custer again. And everyone else stays out. So we go to stage 3, and as you would expect from, NASCAR races ever since 2017, the chaos begins every time the green flag flies for stage 3. It's just everyone for themselves. The chaos begins. From the moment the green flag drops, Jesse Love makes his move. He takes the lead from Austin Hill, and he brings Ty Gibbs with him. Unfortunately, we don't see much of the 2 and the 19 fighting it out, as the caution comes out just a lap later after a giant stack up in turn 12, which takes several cars out of the race. Andre Castro got taken out, Kyle Sieg, Sage Karam, Josh Bilicki. Parker Retzlaff also had his hood up. So because of the carnage and all of the oil that was spilled on the track, the caution was extended a bit for cleanup. And then on the next restart, a couple laps later, we were unable to get going for long because of a Brandon Jones spin after Almond Nigger sent a 3 wide on him and Leland Honeyman entering turn 2. As well as a 50 car of Preston Pardus stalled out in turn 12 close to the restart zone. And that 50 car is what brings out another caution. So, 2 quick cautions, and it's already 8 laps to go in the race. What gives? Well, this time, SVG had already moved up to 3rd, and he has caught the top 2 of Jesse Love and Ty Gibbs. And Ty Gibbs, he was just unable to pass Jesse Love despite several attempts. He tries to play some amazing defense. He plays some amazing defense on 97, eventually forcing him into a mistake where he clips the turn 12 inside wall and gets loose. Also, he barely clips the front stretch wall, but he never spins out. And props to Sam Mayer, too, for not wrecking him. Unfortunately, he loses about 6 car lengths to the leader. But fortunately for him, the caution comes out almost immediately after for Honeyman crashing into the turn 1 tire barriers hard after getting a flat right front tire. So, with this little break that SVG caught, this restart, this final restart takes us into the 3 to go. Sam Mayer gets spun into turn 1 by Connor Mosak, and Sheldon Creed gets spun out in turn 12 by Parker Kligerman. Both of them were running in the top 5, but the race stays green, which in other words means that Jesse Love and Ty Gibbs are basically screwed, because SVG, he makes quick work of both of them, and he brings it home to go 2 for 2 at the Chicago Street Course. As if the first time was not enough, he just had to do it again just for good measure, and he got to work for it this time against the likes of Kyle Larson and Ty Gibbs. I'm gonna say this could be like an unpopular opinion or kind of a hot take, but this win, Shane Bangisbergen, he had to work for this win more than he had to for the Cup race that he won last year. Just my thoughts. But this win not only makes him the first driver to win 3 races this year in the Xfinity Series, which is seriously crazy. Yes, we all knew SVG will be a force on road courses, but him becoming the first Xfinity driver to win 3 races in the season, I did not have this on my bingo card. Like, you had Austin Hill, he's won 2 races so far. Allgaier only has a win. Chandler Smith only has 2 wins. Sam Mayer only has 2 wins. John Hunter Nemechek, he's running part-time on a part-time schedule. He's only won twice. Larson has a win. See who else? Jesse Love has a win. But yeah, SVG, I knew he would be great on road courses, but I did not have this on my bingo card. Like, being the leading, having the most wins in Xfinity right now, with 3 wins in a season, I did not have this in my bingo card. But yeah, it's off right now. He also has the most playoff points in the Xfinity Series right now, not counting, of course, the regular season points that the playoffs started right now. How many points would a regular season champion get? This obviously doesn't count, obviously. But as of right now, without the regular season playoff points in place, he has the most playoff points in Xfinity Series right now. Only off of those 3 wins. This guy has not fully figured out the ovals yet, the oval tracks yet, and he is already a dark horse for the titles simply because he's just such a force at road courses that he can rack up stage points and playoff points at those type of tracks. It's amazing. And telling y'all right now, and this is gonna be a super hot take, if Shane Bangisbergen, if SVG can run even half as good on ovals as he's doing on road courses right now, he will be a certified title contender. Not just a dark horse, like a straight up title contender. That's just how skilled I believe he truly is. He is unbeatable on road courses. So if he's like half as good on ovals, we're talking about like top 15, top 20 speed on ovals, which is kind of what he's running most of the day, but on most tracks, but he hasn't fully figured them out yet. Once he figures them out and he becomes like a top 15, top 10 guy, which I'm certainly sure that he can because he is an amazing talent, this guy's going to be a force in Xfinity. This guy's going to be a force. The guy has won 3 of the 4 road course races this season in Xfinity. And if it wasn't for Austin Hill, there's a good chance he would have gone 4 for 4. He is outperforming AJ Allmendinger at his best type of track. And we're talking about AJ Allmendinger, the AJ, the winningest driver on road courses in Xfinity Series history. And SVG has left him in the dust. I mean, I mentioned how Allmendinger made a mistake earlier in this race. It was because he could not keep up with SVG. He could not keep up with him. That's why Allmendinger made that mistake. It's because he was trying to push his car too hard to keep up with the 97. He just could not. Not even Allmendinger could keep up with them without wrecking his car. You know, I remember when the SVG to Colleague Racing announcement was made. Everyone thought it would be SVG versus Allmendinger on road courses and that they would finish 1-2 on every single road course. Obviously, I didn't think that would be the case. I made the comment that there were other great road course drivers like Sam Mayer, Justin Allgaier, could occasionally throw Sheldon Creed in there as well. But bro, it hasn't even been close. Not only is SVG beating Allmendinger, he's literally beating everyone. He has been the best driver on road courses this season. And I'm not gonna lie, he could make a case for being the most like dominant road course driver in a single season, like the greatest single season performance on road courses. He is on pace to do that. How many road courses do we have left? We do have Watkins Glen and the Roval. Those are the only 2 road courses we have left. I definitely have him winning Watkins Glen, but the Roval, if he beats Allmendinger at the Roval, then that's when shit gets real, because the Charlotte Roval has been Allmendinger's playground, basically. It has been his best track by far, so if he can if SVG wins Watkins Glen is one thing, but if he beats Allmendinger at his own wheelhouse, at his own playground, like, that shit's gonna get real. We're gonna start having some conversations about who the GOAT Xfinity road course racer is, because SVG might just put himself in that conversation if that were to happen. Not to mention, he is carrying Colleague Racing's entire program right now, and the funniest part is that he's not even a Colleague driver. It's amazing, but also tragic in a sense, because the moment Justin Marks decides to bring this guy to Trackhouse, in-house, obviously, and it could very well happen next year with Trackhouse expanding to 3 Cup cars. It's either him or Zane Smith in that 91 car. But the moment that happens, the moment Justin Marks decides to pull the trigger and move SVG to the Cup Series, Colleague Racing, they are cooked. We're already seeing it right now. Outside of SVG, not even Allmendinger can bring them back to their 2021, 2022 title contending days when they were winning like regular season titles and stuff. Unless there is a drastic uptick in performance, let's just say the Colleague won't be doing much trophy hunting after SVG leaves. Okay, but enough talking about SVG. Let's look at the finishing results here. Ty Gibbs finished 2nd and Kyle Larson 3rd. The only 2 guys that could challenge SVG for the win. Larson made it his best effort. Ty Gibbs tried to hold him off for a moment. And if that last caution didn't come out, it's very possible that, Ty Gibbs, maybe he passes Jesse Love because he wouldn't have SVG breathing down his neck. And it's very possible he wins that race. So that last caution kind of screwed the 19 over. But Parker Kligerman finishes 4th after restarting from the rear. Great job. Jesse Love, 3 laps away from winning a race, from pulling off a massive upset over SVG. But, I mean, it's SVG. There's only so much you can do on against SVG on road courses. But he still finished 5th, so pretty solid job. Connor Mosak in 6th. Austin Hill 7th. Despite battling a massive left side tire rub in the closing laps, he managed to finish 7th. Joey Logano finished 8th. First top 10 for that AM Racing 15 car since last year with Brett Moffitt. That's not good. If you're a Hailie Deegan fan, that is not good. First she gets booted from her ride, and then the guy that replaces her for the one-time star. Logano's obviously not replacing her for the rest of the season because he's a Cup driver. But the moment Hailie Deegan starts, the moment Hailie Deegan leaves, Logano, he gets a top 10 in that car. Now, obviously, Logano is a Cup Series champion, so of course you will have more expectation for him than you would do for Hailie Deegan. And of course, not everything was Hailie Deegan's fault. I mean, that crew chief, that crew chief also was pretty inexperienced because Logano was literally telling his crew chief how to adjust the car to make it run better. So yeah, not everything on that AM Racing was Hailie Deegan's fault. There was also some stuff on the team side that they need to work out on. But the point was, the Hailie Deegan AM Racing fit, it was not a good fit. The pairing was not a good fit, and Haley Deegan leaving halfway through the season, it might actually not be the worst thing to happen for either team. It could end up working out for either party or even both of them. So yeah, Justin Allgaier 9th and Austin Green running out the top 10. Again, another great top 10 for this guy, who just keeps impressing on road courses. AJ Allmendinger, despite damage from his stage 2 wreck, he manages to climb back to 11th. Josh Williams in 12 as well. So pretty solid outside of SVG. Pretty solid outings for both their other two full-time drivers. Their actual colleague drivers, because like I said, SVG is not a colleague driver. Sammy Smith 13th. Kyle Weatherman 14th. Cole Custer 18th. Sam Mayer, after the late spin, he went down from potential top 5 to 19th. John Hart Nemechek 25th. Sheldon Creed also spun out late, remember, because of Kligerman. He finished 26th. Daniel Suarez 27th. Riley Herbst 28th. Alex Labate 29th. And then Preston Pardus 32nd. Sage Cameron 33rd. Parker Reslab 34th. Andre Castro 35th. Josh Bilicki 36th. All of those guys injured, or rather wrecked out during that stack up in turn 12. Then Jeremy Clemens in 37th, he wrecked out early in stage 1, and Chandler Smith finishes dead last in 38th with an early engine failure. But this race was absolute cinema from start to finish, and I'm not just saying that because of how last year's edition played out. This race is legit a serious candidate for race of the year across all 3 national series, if only for the battle between Larson and SVG. Because there were even some parts of the race where we all thought Larson had SVG beat, but then SVG will come back and make a pass on a part of the track that's not even a passing zone. I noticed how the leader almost always chose the outside lane entering turn 1 for the restart. A little observation I had. No wonder they were losing the lead almost every single time. I know it was because the restart zone is located in turn 12, and that's a right-hand turn. Well, turn 1 is a left-hand. But still, if you do not get a good launch, you're basically screwed. Like, the opportunity cost of having the preferred lane in turn 1 is just higher in my opinion, because if you're the control car, you're going to be the first to launch. So, if you restart outside lane on a right-hand turn, and then you have turn 1 being a left hand, you're gonna have a better launch because you're the control car anyways, and you're gonna have the preferred lane entering turn 1, which is the actual turn that matters. So obviously, who knows with these NASCAR drivers. But yeah, overall, race of the year, not quite. Not quite. It's definitely a top 5, but race of the year, it's a stretch. It's not even the best Xfinity race of the year, personally. I mean, we had Texas in April, which featured a photo finish and some damn good racing all throughout. But this was a pretty damn good race. By far, the best race we've had in the Chicago street course. If only because there was actually dry, sunny weather, and the weather was good, and we had a great battle between SVG and Larson. Like, SVG, on road courses, he might be more fun to watch than even Larson himself. Like, he was literally having fun, giving Larson the thumbs up off of his window net. The two of them were just racing cleanly and stuff like that. Like, man. This is one road course race that you're gonna want to rewatch. If you wanna watch like NASCAR street course racing at its finest, just go rewatch this race. Although one thing I noticed is that this race is too damn short. Like, the Cup race last year was advertised as 100 laps, and it was shortened to like 75 after the way last year's race ended. I personally have no problem with that, but the Xfinity race was 60 laps long last year. There was no need to shorten it to 50 laps as well, even with 7 cautions, which for a 50-lap road course race is a lot. This race just took under 2 hours to complete. I feel that they should have kept it at like 60 laps, honestly, because this race is just too damn short. Or maybe, I don't know. You know, I don't remember because last year's race... sometimes I pretend that last year's Xfinity race did not exist. Maybe last year's race was also 50 laps long, and maybe I just forgot because of the way it ended. We never really got to see the conclusion of it. We never even reached halfway in last year's race. So I don't really know, but even if that's the case, and it was always a 50 lap race, 50 laps, bro, 50 laps is way too short. For a road course race like the Chicago street course, it's way too short. It should be 60 laps. And then the Cup race, you can keep it 75 laps. Yeah, you can keep it 75 laps. Just give 10 more laps to the Xfinity race, because holy shit, these Xfinity cars, they can run well anywhere, even on street courses. And today was a good example of that. So that being said, I guess I'm just gonna wrap this up here. You can expect the Cup race to be the Cup race review to be up later tonight. I'm also gonna rewatch the truck race tonight. I'm not gonna watch it live because I'm gonna be at work. So again, who the hell schedules this truck race on Friday afternoons? Like, what in the ARCA is going on? They're treating the truck series like it's ARCA at this point. Although, to be fair, the truck series has been running quite kind of like ARCA. But still, that's no excuse. A truck series is a national touring series race. For a series that is advertised as a NASCAR National Touring Series race, you cannot give it a Friday afternoon slot. Even if Pocono has no lights. Like, bro, Saturdays, we've always had the Saturday doubleheader for Trucks and Xfinity, and he has a track with no lights, and it has worked out just fine. Like, I don't know what in the world is going on. I don't know what in the world is going on with that. So, I'm just going to wrap this up here. You can expect the Cup race review later tonight. And then, I guess tomorrow morning, I'm going to rewatch the truck race. Or maybe at midnight, whenever it reruns. I'm going to have that review tomorrow morning. And then I'm going to be up to date. So, I guess that's the plan. So,